Hi, I'm Mrs. Gregg, and I'd like to welcome you to our first video lecture for Honors Biology. We'll do several of these video lectures throughout the year, so I thought it would be a good idea if we go ahead and get accustomed to the format. All right, so first a little bit about me. This is my fourth year at Alexander. I teach biology and chemistry. My background is that I have degrees in both chemical engineering and in education. I worked as a chemical engineer and also as a laboratory research assistant for a number of years before I had kids. And then once I had kids, I decided that my calling was really to be a teacher. Now my kids are up in middle school. But anyway, I've been teaching now for 4 years, really enjoy it. And so here I am teaching you. There's my family, my husband, and the 2 kids. Okay, on to biology. What did we learn this year? The topics that we're going to cover are biochemistry, biological diversity, the cell, genetics, evolution by natural selection, and ecology. So these topics should all sound familiar to you because you touched on them in 7th grade, and now we're just going to go into them in a little more depth. Biology is required for graduation, and it is an EOC class, meaning that at the end of the year we'll have an end-of-course assessment that will cover everything that you have learned since the beginning of the year. And that end-of-course assessment will count 20% of your grade. Speaking of how you'll be graded, in your syllabus, and let me go ahead and talk about your syllabus, make sure that you have this document in front of you so that you can follow along. So in your syllabus, it details exactly how you'll be graded. 50% of your grade is going to be from major assessments. And I'm going to switch back here. There we go. 50% of your grade is tests, lab reports, and projects. 30% is quizzes and any kind of daily work that we do. And in your syllabus, it's broken down a little bit more, like quizzes are 5%, homework is 5%, and so forth. And then we have the EOC, which is 20% of your grade. Okay, your supply list, things that you're going to need by Monday the 14th, are a 1-inch 3-ring binder to save all of your work that you do in biology this year. And I'm okay if you share a binder with other subjects. I know other teachers probably want you to have a binder as well. So I'm okay if you have science in there with social studies and with math. Just make sure that you keep them separate and organized. The other things you need there, dividers will help you with that organization. Notebook paper, pens, pencils, the standard stuff. Colored pencils we use a lot in biology. We do coloring to help you visualize certain things, say for instance the parts of a cell, or maybe to help you see processes if we color code processes, for instance maybe photosynthesis. That color coding helps. So colored pencils are a definite thing that you need. Index cards help. The optional things, markers, highlighters, glue sticks. If you're that kind of person, go ahead and buy those, but generally we have those in class. A calculator can be good too. But at any rate, make sure that you have those things by Monday. All right, let's see. Okay, following along in the syllabus, if you are absent, make sure, let's see, let's find where we are. Okay, there we go, makeup work. Anything that we do in class is going to be put in end grade, and you should be familiar with end grade from middle school. You should have used that some for testing, and maybe some of your other teachers put resources in there, but I will show you end grade so you see, have some idea what I'm talking about. In end grade, everything that we do is organized according to unit. We have a calendar that shows what I plan to do for the week. All of the introductory documents that we're getting this week will be in the Introduction to Biology section, and then we are divided out by units. We have 4 units, and each unit page has all of the documents and all of the information that we use in class right there on the wiki page. So here at the top we have the table of contents. You would write this out, and that would be the first thing in your notebook for that unit. You just copy it from here. Every single document is linked, so if, for instance, if you were absent that day, you could go ahead and click on that document from end grade, print it out at home, work on it, so that way you don't fall behind. Other things that we use, any kind of presentations, any kind of like a supplementary text reading or a video, those will also be available in end grade. You just click on them and it will take you directly to them. We also have a class YouTube channel where there are videos that we use in class, and there are also supplementary videos. So if you feel like you really aren't getting something, Sometimes just watching an extra video or two will help those things click so that you get that concept. I try to make sure that I give you enough, and actually more than enough information to be able to be very successful in biology. But it's all laid out there in end grade. We're going to use that a lot. You should reference that every day. Let's go back here. Okay, so if you are absent, first check end grade, try to print that stuff out. If you can't print out at home, then we'll have the copies saved in the notebook that I keep on the countertop near my desk. You're welcome to help yourself to any kind of missing work from those notebooks. Make sure that you try to do that before school so that we aren't holding up class. But if you aren't able to make it before school, do it first thing whenever you walk in the door. Because when that bell rings, we need to hit the ground running. We don't have time to worry about makeup work. So I really want you to take care of that either at home or before class. And then makeup test, you need to make sure that you schedule those for either Tuesdays or Thursdays after school. Again, we don't have time in class for you to work on a makeup test. That would put you even farther behind. So any kind of makeup test would need to be scheduled with me so that I know that you're coming on a Tuesday or a Thursday to make it up. And you would need to do that as soon as possible that week whenever you return. Quizzes, I give quizzes pretty frequently, and the whole idea with quizzes is that you get immediate feedback to help you, to show you whether or not you're learning correctly, if you're understanding the concepts, or where you maybe need to do some work. So quizzes are given back pretty much immediately. So I don't have time to wait for people to make up quizzes, so I have a policy of not making up quizzes. Now I do drop the lowest quiz grade, so if you're absent for one quiz, it's no big deal, that grade just gets dropped. If you're absent for 2 or 3 or 4 quizzes, then what happens is that quiz grade ends up being replaced with the test grade for that unit. So if you miss a quiz in Unit 3, then what I do is I take the Unit 3 test grade and use that to replace that missing quiz. Quizzes only make up 5% of your grade, so it's not, a terribly big deal. They're really there to help make sure that you are learning and to help you make sure that you're understanding before we get to that final test. All right, late work policy for an honors class. Projects are due on the day that they were assigned to be due. They are non-negotiable as far as the due dates. If you don't have that project on the day it's due, then it's an automatic 0. Okay, if you're absent, make sure that you come in with a yellow excuse from the front office showing that it was an unexcused absence. You come in with your project in hand and your yellow excuse, and you'll be allowed to turn in your project. If you don't have an excused absence, then that project grade then becomes an automatic 0. So make sure that you are there to turn in your projects on the day they are due. All other assignments, if you were to turn them in late, I do take off points. I'll accept them late, but I'm taking off points. You really want to make sure that you're staying on top of your work. If you're not turning your work in on time, then you are possibly going to fall behind in class, and you really don't want to do that. We move at such a fast pace in honors that it's very easy to fall behind if you don't keep up. If you do have a missing assignment, that becomes a 0 if you have not taken care of it by the end of the unit. Also, if you're in the habit of regularly not doing your work, I'm very concerned about your grade, and what I will do is assign you Saturday school so that you can make up all of that missing work. You really don't want to spend your Saturday morning sitting in ISS, basically, doing work. That's not how you want to spend your Saturday, but I will do that if I find that you're in the habit of not turning in work. I really want everyone to do well, and doing your work and turning it on time is part of making sure you do well. All right, so our resources for this class. The first is end grade, which I've already talked about. We use that a lot. Make sure that you understand how to log in and how to navigate through that. And we'll talk about it in class too. And then the second is Remind. I do use that. Make sure that you sign up. The class code is Greg-HBio. That's for our honors biology class. And I will remind you about tests or any kind of assignments that you have coming up. And parents are welcome to sign up as well. All right, next thing, let's move on to classroom rules. This is on the rules document that you should have. It looks like this. We have the rules and procedures. I won't talk about the procedures here. We'll talk about those in class. Those are the things that help our class move smoothly. But I will talk about the rules so that we're clear on those. The first is to make sure that you follow directions immediately the first time they are given. Second, make sure that you are in your assigned seat and ready to work when the tardy bell rings. We only have 45 minutes in class, so our time is very precious. You have got to be ready to go when the bell rings. Third is make sure that you come to class prepared with your notebook, paper or writing utensil, whatever homework I may have assigned, you should have that ready to go. Fourth, make sure that you are quiet while I'm talking. Show me respect. Number 5, this is particularly important if we're having classroom discussions. Make sure that you are raising your hand so that I can acknowledge you and we aren't talking over each other. So raise your hand for permission to speak, and also raise your hand to leave your seat. I really don't want you up wandering around the classroom, particularly while I'm talking. Make sure that you're raising your hand. Let me know, that you need to go get some particular materials, or that you need to go to the trash can or whatever. Let me know what you're planning on doing before you get up out of your seat. The last one has to do with your cell phones and whatever electronic devices or gadgets that you might have. I found that they are really a distraction, that students tend to be more absorbed in whatever's going on in their cell phone versus whatever's going on in class. So the best practice that I have found is that when you walk through the door, you place your cell phone in that organizer that's up on the front closet. You'll be assigned a number. You place your cell phone in that numbered spot, and then you can reclaim your cell phone whenever we're finished with class. As you're walking out the door, you can pick it up. That way you aren't distracted and you are focused entirely on biology whenever you're in class, because we want you to do well. Okay, and then what are the consequences? I'm not planning on us using any of these in our honors class, but if you aren't following the rules, I'll make sure that you get a verbal warning, or I might give you the evil eye to let you know that I'm not happy with your behavior. I might move your seat. If you're if sitting by a particular student is too distracting for you, then I'll give you a new seat assignment. If we're having a lot of problems, I'll hold you after class so we can have a discussion about it. I may make a phone call home or email home, or if you're an athlete, check with your coach and let them know how your behavior is in class. I do have detention after school sometimes. I can always find plenty of stuff for you to clean or organize or something for detention if you aren't behaving in class. And then the last one for very serious infractions are that I will send you to an administrator. You'll get a referral to an administrator. Okay, but we are not going to use any of those this year. All right, so what is your homework? You need your syllabus and your classroom rules and procedures. Make sure that you have read through those thoroughly. Make sure that you have shared them with your parent or guardian at home, and have them sign and you sign acknowledging that you understand about the rules and how the class is going to be run. Next thing, make sure that you have signed up for Remind so that you're not missing out on any homework, and that you're always aware of tests and what's going on in class. And then the last one is to make sure that you get your supplies so you are ready for next week. All right, I am looking forward to having a good year, and I will see you in class.